Hello and welcome. I'm really glad that you're taking this time for yourself today. If you're listening to this, it's likely because anger has felt like a storm in your life. Maybe it feels like a tidal wave that sweeps you away before you even realize what's happening. Or maybe it feels like a constant simmering heat just beneath the surface. I want to start by telling you something that you might not hear very often. Anger is not your enemy. Anger is a natural, powerful survival response. It's hardwired into your nervous system to protect you. But when anger becomes rigid, it hooks us into behaviors that tear down the very things that we're trying to build. Today, we're going to look at a new way to relate to this heat, not by trying to fight it or suppress it, but by learning how to drop the rope. Let's walk through this together. To change our relationship with anger, we first have to understand the loop that we get stuck in. Take a look at this diagram. We often think of anger as a single, simple emotion. In reality, anger is more like an iceberg. What the world sees, and what we often focus on, is the visible action above the water. The yelling, the slamming of doors, the icy silence, the harsh words. But underneath that waterline sits a massive hidden reservoir. Deep down, anger is almost always a shield. It is an approach-motivated survival strategy designed to help us avoid feeling more vulnerable. Raw emotions like grief, shame, deep powerlessness, or fear. It feels much safer to the survival brain than to feel angry, and to be powerful than to feel hurt and helpless. But when we use anger to run away from these deeper sensations, we get caught in a trap. Look at this next slide, and we're going to map exactly how this trap operates in real time. This is what we call the behavioral tracking matrix. I want you to think of a recent time that you got hooked. First, there is a trigger, an external event. Let's say your partner criticizes how you did a chore. Instantly, the internal hook activates. Your chest tightens, your face grows hot, and your mind screams, "They don't respect me. I have to stand my ground." Now, look at the two pathways. The default pathway is the unworkable move. We yell, we storm out, or we give the silent treatment. In the short term, it might feel like we gained control, but in the long term, we've taken a step away from our values, damaging trust. Instead, our goal is to practice the workable move, taking a breath, noticing the heat, naming the anger, and choosing to express a clean boundary. The question we must ask ourselves is simple. Are our moves building the life that we actually want? Let's do an honest audit. We've all tried different strategies to manage our anger. Some of us try to suppress it, to lock it in a box and pretend it's not there. As you can see on the chart, this yields almost zero long-term life of vitality. It just creates physical tension and leads to an eventual explosion. Others try venting, screaming, punching pillows, or ruminating. That means processing thoughts over and over again and just really stirring things up. While this gives us a quick 10-second hit of relief, neurobiology shows that it actually rewires our brain to become more and more hyperreactive over time. It keeps us trapped in the storm. The ACT pathway, dropping the rope, is different. It doesn't ask you to stop feeling the anger. It asks you to stop fighting it. It has a 90% return on life vitality because it frees up your energy to focus on what truly matters to you. So, how do we do this? Well, we use a framework called the hexaflex integration. You can see it on this slide. This framework is built on 6 core processes that help you move from the psychological rigidity that you're experiencing when anger runs the show to psychological flexibility, where you run the show. We're going to learn how to accept the physical heat without exploding, diffuse from racing, angry thoughts, stay anchored in the present moment, connect with the observing part of yourself, clarify what you stand for, take committed, purposeful action. We're going to break these down into core skills. I want to talk about diffusion and how to change your relationship with your mind. Your brain has 100 billion neurons. When a trigger occurs, your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, fires immediately, flooding your body with adrenaline and dopamine. Your slower prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, gets temporarily hijacked. In these moments, your mind starts to spin stories. They're doing this to me on purpose, or I have to smash something to make them listen. If we are fused with these thoughts, we treat them as absolute commands. We want to practice stepping back. Instead of saying, they're trying to ruin my life, or you'll try saying, I am having the thought that they are trying to ruin my life. This simple shift creates space. You can even try thanking your mind. Thank you, brain, for trying to protect me and keep me safe. I see what you're doing, but I've got it from here. Now, let's look at another aspect. This is one of the most powerful shifts you will make. It's called acceptance and expansion. When anger fires, it creates this intense somatic heat. Your jaw clenches, your heart races, your stomach tightens. Trying to stop this wave once it started is like trying to stop a tidal wave with your hand as a shield. It's physically impossible. The adrenaline is already in your blood. So instead of fighting it, we want to practice expansion. If you feel anger rising right now, close your eyes for a moment. Map the physical sensation. Where is it? In your chest? Your shoulders? If it had a shape, what would it be? What color is it? Is it heavy, sharp, or hot? Once you locate it, breathe deeply into and around it. Use your mind to visualize the expansion. Tell yourself, my body is big enough to hold this heat without exploding. You don't have to like the sensation, but you can make room for it. As we do this, we connect with what we call self as context. You can kind of see an illustration of it in this slide. Imagine your consciousness is like a sky. The sky is always vast, stable, and pure. It never changes. Your emotions, the anger, the sadness, the joy, the frustration, are simply weather patterns passing through. A thunderstorm can be incredibly loud, violent, and dark, but it cannot scratch or damage the sky itself. The sky simply holds space for the storm to exist, knowing that it will eventually pass. You are not an angry person. You are the sky, and anger is just the weather. You are the stable container observing the storm pass. When the storm is at its peak and your internal anger meter crosses a level 5, your mind will want to ruminate and keep the fire burning. We need a physical anchor to pull us back to the present moment. In this slide, you can see the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sensory reset. When you feel the heat rising, name 5 things you can see around you. Notice 4 things you can physically feel, like your feet flat on the floor or your hands on your lap. Acknowledge 3 things you can hear right now. Detect 2 things you can smell or taste. Take 1 deep belly breath, feeling your stomach expand. This shifts your brain out of the fight or flight survival loop and grounds you safely in the here and now. Now that we've created space, diffused from the stories, and we've made room for the physical heat, we arrive at the ultimate pivot. This is about values and committed action. Take a look at this slide. Anger tells you that you want what you want in the next 10 seconds. Retribution, control, dominance. Your values tell you how you want to be remembered for the next 10 years. As a loving parent, a reliable partner, a respected colleague, a grounded friend. Notice the difference. One is very immediate and temporary. The other is more long-term and aligns with who you truly want to be deep down overall. When you feel the surge of anger, ask yourself this core question. Given this feeling of anger right now, what action can I take in this exact moment that is closest to the person I truly want to be? This is where you choose your legacy. This is where you step forward with purpose. To help you apply this in your daily life, I've put together an ACT emergency plan. It's a simple 4-step guide that you can use whenever you feel yourself getting hooked. 1. Notice the heat. This is where you check your internal meter. If it's above 5, pause. There's no need to react in this moment because pretty much anything that comes as a reaction out of this is going to be unhelpful and regretful. 2. Label the hook. Tell yourself, my mind is spinning a story to protect me. Right? That story, they're attacking me again. They're always too hard on me. They expect too much. Whatever that story is, your mind is using it to protect you and it wants to put up some defenses. But instead, you're going to drop the rope. Soften your shoulders, breathe, and let the physical heat sit there. You can choose what your body does, and your emotions and your mind will begin to follow it as you let it lead. Then execute the pivot. Choose a values-directed action, even if it's just taking a respectful 5-minute break to cool down. I often recommend 20 minutes, and 20 minutes focused on something completely irrelevant to this conversation that you're having. Not trying to think about what you're going to say or all the nuances, but rather doing something completely different because then it allows your body to calm again. But if you ruminate on it and you're thinking about what your defense is going to be or your offense, well, then you're still staying wound up. So it's unhelpful. So focus on something completely different and you'll find it amazing how you can come back and have a conversation about that same issue without all of the responses. You have the power to choose. The next time the storm rolls in, remember, you are the sky. Drop the rope, make room for the heat, and step toward the life you deserve. Thanks a lot for practicing with me today.